Hey everybody, welcome to the show here again. My name is Justin Von Migen. I sell final expense life insurance 100% over the phone with Senior Life Services. Jason Torres sells final expense 100% over the phone as well with SLS. Him and I both went from face-to-face to telesales. What we're going to be talking about here today is how a new insurance agent can be successful in the business, whether they're just starting out in telesales or they're starting out in the field or they want to transition from the field to telesales. We're going to be covering a lot of that for you all today. If you want to work with either myself or Jason, all you have to do, you don't even you can just click this to learn information. This isn't like any obligation. If you want to see if we are a good fit for you, right? Because we're not a good fit for everybody. Some people call us crazy. We may call them lazy. Neither of us is wrong, right? So all you got to do is click the link. It's www.theslsway.com/jvomeigen. Look in the description of the video. I'll also pin it in the comments to be the top comment. YouTube's weird with like the whole find in the description thing now. All right, so Jason, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us where you live and what got you into the business, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, like Justin said, my name is Jason Torres. I'm actually located in, I say Houston. I'm actually up a little bit north in Montgomery, Texas. It's kind of like you say the biggest city because nobody knows where Montgomery is, but it is the birthplace of the Texas flag, so that's pretty cool.
That's
little
cool
thing about Texas. What I got into the business was I used to be a air traffic controller, and I was doing pretty well for myself and my family. I had the house, had the cars, had everything, but I was just controlled by the man, right? The government. So a friend of mine was actually in insurance, and he had a pretty nice lifestyle, and I was like, what do you do? And he told me, well, I do insurance. And I'm like, no, you don't, dude. Insurance guys don't make any money. What are you talking about? And he was like, no, dude, really, I run a team. I do insurance. And I'm like, dude, stop lying. So then we went through this conversation, and like the years, we became really good friends. And then I just kept seeing how his lifestyle, even though I had a nice one, I wasn't being greedy or anything, but have a wife and 3 kids, 3 girls. So I knew I was going to have to make more than what I was making as a controller. I was doing 6 figures, but low 6 figures. So long story short, a bunch of things happened in my life where I was like, you know what? It's time to get insurance. I felt like I was being called, believe it or not, to do insurance. I felt like I was getting all the signs and I was getting all the whispers and reading and journaling. It just felt like I was supposed to do insurance. So went and got my insurance license, and then walked in one day to the office of the manager's office, and I was just like, hey, I'm out. And he was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I'm out. And he's like, why? And I was like, I'm going to go start my own insurance business. And he's like, you do realize this is like the hardest job to get in America. Like only like 1% of the entire population could ever even do this job. And I was just like, no, I'm gonna go start my own insurance agency. So I quit. Back against the wall, wife, 3 kids, mortgage payment, car payment, the whole 9 yards, and then just started insurance, and then the rest is history.
All right, cool, man. So did you have when you first started in insurance, what was it like for you? Was it a challenge? Did you kind of hit the ground running? How'd it go?
Well, when I first started, so one of the things that I know a new insurance agent or in any business have to do is you have to study before you get going, right? So before I got started, I was basically studying like the materials of SLS. So before I got started, I studied my rear end off. So when I came into the business, I was like, I know I got to work 10, 12-hour days. I know I got to do all this stuff. So I just focused myself and studied super hard. So when I did come in, I hit the ground running extremely fast. My first month in the business, I wrote $51,000 in my first month. It was actually $50,792. So right there at 51,000 in my very first month in the business. So, but that's not because insurance was easy. It's just because I worked. Like nobody was going to outwork me. So I was putting in the hours, which is, anybody who tells you can do insurance on a part-time basis is lying to you. You gotta put in the hours.
100%, dude. That's awesome. So, like, obviously your work ethic helped you with that. But when you say you studied, and a lot of new agents run into this, right? Because we're really fortunate here. at our system where we have the training that we have. It's almost, we almost give people too much, I think, sometimes, because
Yeah.
like I talked to a woman the other day who works at she's probably gonna be watching this. She works at another IMO. I'm not gonna say their name, but she said she had to call all the carriers to learn about the applications and the products, right? Which that's what I did. I had someone help me. My upline when I started was great. I was independent, and I can't. He was a good upline. I have nothing bad to say about him. But it was like more often if I asked a question about some things, to be like, hey, just reach out to the carrier. I got something I'm doing right now.
Hmm.
And so when you started, what did you do to learn all that stuff and get going? Because I'm sure your upline wasn't like in a training room with you for 7 days a week. So
Actually, when I joined, so SLS is special, like you said. Sometimes we give people too much. So I had a builder on top of me, and then I had a builder on top of that builder, right? So I had two support people. But the
gotcha.
builder at the top that I had at the time, he had six teams scattered all over the country, and even though he's the reason why I got into insurance and he was my best friend, he was busy. So my interaction with him was in the evening when I was like,
Mm,
"Hey, here's my recap. I got an hour drive home. Let's recap." So he taught me a lot about the mindset of the business, but in terms of the actual day to day of the business, he was so far removed from it because carriers change and things change. Like the higher up in management you get, you got to trust on your troops to tell you the changes,
mm,
right? So the lady that I was working with, who's still with us, she actually was competing for ultimate challenges and still selling full time and doing her thing. So just like you had to learn most of it on your own, SLS had the blueprint and it was laid out. So I had to go dig and find all the information and learn about the carriers, learn about this just by kind of like trial and error. Fast forward, I've been at SLS 6 years, and we literally have everything planted out in a blueprint to where they really don't have to study as much as you and I had to do when we first got started. And it's good and it's bad because one, it teaches you that you could do the business, but the bad thing is you don't study. So nothing really sticks. So
mm-hmm.
a successful agent getting in, you gotta put in the time after hours. Like you gotta do an app on yourself. You have to go through the app, find the errors, create an error so you could see what the error does when you create it. It's just the little things that make different people successful. That's what it was for me.
So you didn't just work hard at the sales part. You also worked hard in the training and learning products, applications. Did you practice your sales pitch, your presentation?
So actually, it's funny. My kids, when I was making phone calls, they would literally play in the house like they were calling agent clients and booking appointments because that's all that I would do. They would hear me constantly booking appointments. So my girls would pick up their little fake broken cell phones that I used to not use anymore, and they'd be like, "Hi, this is Jason Torres with SLS. We specialize in this," and they would book appointments on the phone, and all of them wanted to be SLS sales agents.
That's so
I mean,
funny.
it's so funny. But yeah, I would practice my pitch. I would do it and then when I would get into the houses, I would remember in my mind the people in front of me. They don't know what the heck I'm supposed to say. They have no idea what
You're
I'm
right. Yeah.
supposed to say. So just say it. And if I mess up, that didn't work. I won't do that in the next appointment. I'll do something else. So you just got to remember as a new agent, like people don't know what's supposed to come out your mouth. Like they don't have your playbook in front of them, so they have no idea. So just say what you got, follow the script, and then just whatever comes out, and then you can. They don't know, so it just makes it
That's
easier.
true. I like that. I think it takes some anxiety off because the biggest thing I see new
Yeah.
agents they have is this like massive anxiety about being
Yes.
on the phone and they're called. They're like, hey, Betty, and it's like, just be yourself. And a guy yesterday, I jumped on, helped him close the sale in the office here, and he was like, dude, it's so smooth. And I said, no, bro, I'm just like, first of all, I've been doing it a few years, and two, I'm just not worried about what they think about what I say.
Yes.
And
You
that's a
can't.
big,
You
exactly.
can't think about what people think about you. I mean, if we did, none of us would make any money. You just gotta You just got to remember that if they're mean to you, they're the ones having a bad day. It's not personal. They don't know you. they're just having a bad day and they're taking it out on you because you just happen to be right in front of them.
That's true. That's true. And that, keep in mind too, guys, if someone is ever mean to you or grouchy to you, then it can happen where it's it may not like people don't have a bad day every day, right?
Right.
So may be able to get through that. Jason, everything okay with your camera there? It just kind of went blank on me there for a second.
Yeah, I'm here. I see
Okay,
you too.
cool. Okay, cool. All right, just showing on mine something different. Okay, cool. All right. Well, so if you had so you went from field sales to telesales, really,
Yeah.
because you had a team there, and I made that transition too. I would recommend to anybody struggling right in telesales at the beginning to like just run a few appointments face to face if they can. If they're not in a system like ours, because we have like unlimited leads and like agents, they don't understand the value of that. But like I feel like if you're trying to start in telesales and you're just spending like $1,000 a week and you're losing it because you can't close anything, I would definitely recommend working some face-to-face appointments, getting your presentation done, and then transitioning to the phone. What would you recommend, Jason? Similar, different, or what would you say?
So because again, we're spoiled where we are, where we just have hundreds of thousands of leads in our system, because we're spoiled like that, here with us, you get a little bit more an easier transition. However, if I was starting off brand new, because I did start in the field, that face-to-face interaction is so much easier than on the phone.
Mm,
On the phone, you have to have the numbers, like you said. Otherwise, you're going to be spending $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a week on leads to put up the type of numbers that people get into insurance for. People don't get into insurance to make $500 a week. People get in insurance to make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a week. That's what they get into insurance for. So, in order to make that on the phones, you have to be able to spend 2, 3 grand, like you said, on leads a week. So, if you don't have that, you can't be a social butterfly on the phone. So, if
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
have the leads, then you got to go where you could be social, which is out in the field, until you can build the comfortability up. But then you also got to realize if you're out in the field and you're doing this, and then you transition, you got to remember that out in the field, it's you, your face, your smile, your hand gestures, everything that you're going to do. So you gotta set your expectations differently, because when you do get on the phones, if you do that path of transition, you're going to lose half of your dimensions. Like, you're going to lose the facial
Mm,
expression, you're going to lose the smile, you're going to lose the eye connection. I mean, so if you have the ability to do it in the field because you're nervous as heck and you don't have the support and you don't have the leads wherever it is that you are, then yeah, Justin, I would definitely take that approach. Because I mean, when we switched to telesales, I was like, oh God, the phones. It's like, no, forget COVID. Can I just wear 7 masks and go door to door, please? I was like, the phones even scared me. Because I
yeah,
mean, you were doing phones. I mean, you had one of the largest teams doing phones, so you knew what was going on.
yeah,
It was definitely a transition, but I mean, I would never go back, because now it's just the window time, the leads. It's just a numbers game now. So I don't
exactly.
think I would ever go back.
Cool, awesome. And honestly, like if you get like 20 direct mail leads, guys, if you're watching this and you're brand new, if you buy 20 direct mail leads, it probably cost you $1,000. But if you buy 20 direct mail leads and you go knock on all their doors, there is no way you're not going to make a
Yeah,
sale. Like,
yeah,
it's
no way.
literally like impossible. You can say, I'm here to sell you the life insurance you asked for, and at least a couple of them are going to be
At
like,
least,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's where it's like it helps you get those jitters through. And also what it helped me do is realize like the things people say aren't real, because like I've been in their homes before and I've seen the cockroaches, I've seen like the
All of
you
it.
know the the guys answering and they're like in their tighty whities.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
honestly, I like, even though I was only in the field for like 6 months, my memories of the field are way more memorable than my phone, my phone one. So yeah,
Those fields that just you talk about tidy whities and cockroaches. Three quick stories. I'll do it in
Yeah, go
60
ahead.
seconds
People
or
love
less.
those.
I'll do it in 60 seconds or less. I had a young lady with me who just graduated University of Houston, dressed well. She was like business. She had a financial degree. And we go up to this house and we knock on the door. And the dude had to be like 390 pounds just in skivvies, just in skivvies. And I was like, he opened the door and I'm like, I looked at her, she looked at me, and I'm just like, hi, my name is Jason Torres. I'm a Senior Life Services here for our appointment. He's like, sure, come in. And I'm like, oh Lord. And he sits down in his recliner, dude, skivvies and all. And I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, please, for the love of God, don't let anything fall out. And then, so we do the entire presentation, and he had to get up to get his medicines, dude, and skivvies on the back, straight thong. And I'm like, God bless America.
Oh my
And
god.
this poor girl had only been with us for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And it's like, oh. And then I'm doing another presentation with a different young lady who joined the team. And I'm sitting there with my book, because now we have everything on the computer, but I had my
Yeah.
book, and the cockroaches are like crawling on my book, and you can't
Oh.
you can't make a reaction to them because that's their lifestyle. If you make a
Yeah.
reaction to it, they're gonna think that you're better than them, right? So you just gotta deal with it. So the cockroaches are crawling on my book, and I'm just like trying to move them away. It's like a cockroach, dude. I could do anything, but maggots. And before I started SLS, cockroaches were my thing. But clearly, I got used to cockroaches. They're crawling all over my book and stuff, and then they're like going like the ones on my foot. I'm like, oh dear God. So I'm doing this presentation, and then at the end we got a sale. But it's like you said, it's like they want the insurance. No,
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
matter their living situation, if you took 20 direct mail leads and door knocked every one of them and did exactly what you said, hey, I'm here to sell you your life insurance, you're going to get 2 of the 20, not even having a personality because it's a numbers game.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, they want it that bad that they'll let you into their disgusting house. That's it.
Yes, and they
There's
don't
no
care.
way that they're proud of it.
They don't. They don't care
I
because
know.
they're humans just like us.
Exactly. So, someone getting into telesales, what do you recommend for them? Well, first off, what are the 3 things that I guess make or break it? If you could pick 3 things that make or break it for people being successful getting into it, what would it be?
In telesales, 3 things that will make or break it is it's actually funny. We actually did a training on this on my morning call yesterday. And it's funny that you're talking about that. If I could find the paper. Oh no, it was on my tablet. I did it. But everybody has a reason not to get on the phone, right? Anxiety, stress, this or that. Like I joke with my team, well, this person only had 20 minutes of talk time. The dog must have chewed their internet cord, right? Like I make fun about it, or aliens abducted them. Like I make fun about it, but the biggest thing is, it's like you said earlier, the fear of getting on the phone, the fear of the unknown, the fear of just talking to people. So one of the biggest things that I think sinks people's careers and puts them in that 92% that don't make it in the insurance world is their own fear of getting on the phone. So I'm not prepared. I'm not this. I don't know my carriers. I don't know my script. I don't know what to say if somebody says this. I don't know. That right there is probably the number one thing that will sink somebody, is thinking that you're not prepared enough. Just get on the phones and go.
Yeah.
Just get on the phones and go. If you're a superstar athlete, you don't know the entire playbook when you get to your team. You get on the field and you run the route, you make mistakes. And that's what, like, I think that's the biggest number one thing, is that they think they got to be us, right? They think they got to be top producers. Those top producers had to do the same thing they did. They had to take their licks. So that's the number one thing, thinking you got to know too much, and the fear of not knowing it, getting on the phone. The number 2 thing is that work ethic. I mean, the work ethic is just like, you have to realize that doing phone sales and doing life insurance, it's a numbers game. Like, you have to put in the time. You can't get on the phones and then have an hour and not have a successful call
Yeah.
and think, "Oh, my day's done." No, it's just your numbers are at the back end of the day. Some days you'll get lucky, you'll get them at the beginning. Some days you just got to go through the process, and it happens on your last call. But you got to put in the time, and you have to realize that you got to put in the time. And people's expectations of what time is, it's different when you're doing telesales. So fear of getting on the phones because you're not prepared, not realizing how much time it actually takes to make money in this business.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, if I had to pick, would probably be not having a support system. Support around you is huge.
Yeah, it is.
You gotta talk to people about what you're doing. If you have a wife and kids, or if you have a wife and no kids, if you have a wife and dogs, if you're a single mom, it doesn't matter where you are. You gotta let the people around you know what you're doing, because if they don't know what you're doing, you're not gonna be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not gonna be able to do it. The reason why people don't call people between 10 and 6 in the morning is because most people know most people are sleeping during that time. So people's phones don't ring during that time because it's rude, right? So if you're doing a job and you're doing insurance, you got to let the people that you know and the people that you love know what you're doing. Hey, between these hours, I'm working. Because the biggest problem that we have is people think we're 1099, we're our own boss, and we can just do what we want when I want. But it's true, but at the same time, if I don't work, I don't make money. So letting the people around you know what's going on and setting that expectation with them is huge. If not, you're never going to make it.
Exactly. And I look at that as like not as much flexibility, but freedom, which is something you have to earn, right? Freedom is earned. It's not, you don't just get it. So like 1099, yes, you're an independent contractor. You can do whatever you want. And sometimes the people, you can do whatever you want, but I promise if you do whatever you want, you're going to fail. Because I don't, like, you think Jason wanted to be here at 9 on a Saturday with me?
I actually did.
Well, I did too. Yeah, I did too, to be honest. I did. But what I mean is, like, you know, like I get a new batch of agents to train every week, right? Would I prefer to maybe be like on a beach in South America somewhere, like having like a margarita with like some exotic tequila and like being fanned down or something? Like, yeah, of course I'd rather do that. But but you do what you got to do because you do it. So I think in addressing those, right? I watched a video the other day. It was really good. He talked about how people have anxiety of the phone because they approach it from the perspective that they're trying to make a sale, not from the perspective of, does what I have can I help someone?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that comes from being sold on your product too. Because if you're sold on what you do and your goals, then you're going to go into it and be like, hey, I'm just here to help you. Because we can't help everybody. There's not everybody we talk to that this product's a good fit for. So that perspective can help. And then, you know, the work ethic thing, it comes down to guys is just doing every day, whether you feel like it or not.
Yeah.
You got to show up and be consistent.
Feel like it, you got to show up, just like you said. You don't want to be there. You still got to go to work. Like,
yeah,
it's that mindset, man. I agree.
My uncle used to tell me it's why it's JOB, not FUN, right? So it's like super corny and like makes sense, but it doesn't at the same time. But I always hear him.
But you can have fun at work if you're making money, though. That's the crazy thing.
Of course.
Just the JOB, everybody's telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. When you're doing insurance, it is FUN, because at the end of it, you're going to make way more than you could have ever made at a job. But if you're not having fun while you're doing it, the people on the other end of the phone can tell that too. So you got to be a person on the phones. You got to talk to them, have a relationship with them. Like you said, how can I help you? Not how can I sell you?
Exactly.
It's just like you said. Mindset. Flip the script and peer, and everything will change.
And I've found as a leader too, the people I see sometimes who like, I always reiterate with myself, like my job is to help others make money, not to get other people to make me money, you know? So I've seen like two styles sometimes of leadership where it's like, hey, these people are here to make me money instead of I'm here to serve them. So it's like a servant mindset all around. Like, how can I serve? How can I help others? And how can I contribute? So Um, I just I had a good question here. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, for someone struggling with the consistency. Well, ask this: what's the most draining thing for you in the insurance business? The most draining thing you've ever experienced, gone through, or that you go through?
Well, it's there's two, but I'll take the most draining one. The most draining one is there's so many, man. I think the thing that almost took me out the business, because even though I wrote 50,000, 49,000,
Mm-hmm.
48,000 all in my first 3 months. So the most draining thing to me was when somebody canceled on me after I had that relationship with them,
Mm.
after I sat in their house with them. Most of the time, when I delivered the policy, I made sure that a family member was there. Like, knowing that these people were canceling a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months later, that did something to me up here because I always thought, was it me? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? So I never really could grasp that during my first, heck, even first year, really. Like, I quit even though I was making good six figures in my first 6 months, because I cleared 100,000 in my first 6 months. Even though I was making good money, I kept telling myself, maybe this isn't for me. These people are canceling, and when people
Mm.
cancel on you, it hurts, right? I think canceling is even worse than people telling you no up front, because they told you yes and now they're telling you no. They're like just takesy backsy type thing. So realizing that cancellations are going to come no matter what you do. I've never met a person in the insurance industry yet. There will be one day, but I've never met a person in the insurance industry that has 100% quality
Mm-hmm.
where nothing falls off the books. I've never met somebody like that. So you just got to mentally prepare yourself for the cancellations are going to come.
Exactly.
And then you got to circle back around and find out why they canceled, because you might have oversold them, which
Mm-hmm.
which was my case a lot of times. I oversold them, and then when I went back into the house, I was like, "Hey, what happened?" "Oh, well, I just couldn't do it. I had to buy food this month." I'm just like, "Oh gosh, okay. Well, let's lower your thing
Yeah.
down a little bit, because you still got to take care of your family." But again, it's like you said, finding out how you can help them, not how you could sell them. Because I could have went in
100%.
and been like, "What are you, silly? What are you,
Yeah.
not an intelligent person? Like, you need this to protect your family." No, it's, "Hey, what happened? And then how can I help you make this not happen again?" It really changed my mind. But the cancellations almost took me out the business when I first started, because I just couldn't wrap my mind around it.
I can totally relate to that, and I felt that too. And I've had people. I remember my face. It sticks more when it's a face to face person than over the phone. But
Yeah.
I feel that now when agents leave, right? When I have an agent that I've invested time into who leaves, I feel that same drain. It's like I have it's like a so totally get that. So what we're gonna do here, we got a couple minutes left, Jason. I'd like to give you to give three tips here for new insurance agents on how they can be successful getting into or how if someone's just starting out in telesales, how can they be successful? If you give any advice.
3 tips for a licensed agent just getting started. Set your expectations for the business. Number one, I'm huge on realistic expectations. I mean, any marriage that you're in, any relationship that you're in, you know what the other person expects of you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to know what your business is going to expect of you in order to make that business work. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to set realistic expectations in yourself. You have to say, "Hey, I'm going to be working on the phones. I'm going to be getting told no a lot.
Yeah.
And since I'm going to be getting told no a lot, I got to have these expectations that that's okay. That's okay. Your yes is coming somewhere. You just don't know where it is yet. So you have to have expectations, realistic ones, not I'm going to make 100,000 working 10 hours a week. That's not a realistic expectation. That's a pipe dream. That, I mean,
Yeah.
if you figure it out, please click
Let
on
me
the
know.
link and say, "Call me. I found out how to make 100,000 in 10 hours." If you found that out, let me know, because me and Justin will come with you. So, but it's not going to happen. So, but set expectations with yourself. That's number one. Number two thing is give it time.
Yeah.
You got to give this business time. This business is, it drives me nuts because there's so many recruiters out there that tell you that you're going to get rich quick in insurance, and that's just not the case.
Correct.
Yes, there's the one-off story where like somebody comes in and writes 50,000 their first month. Yes, it happens. But the average person is gonna go like a stock market, right? Like you're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs. You gotta give yourself time. I tell everybody that gets in this business, clock out a year of your life. Go through the bumps, go through the bruises, give it a full year, because this business is not a weekly business. It's a yearly business. You get paid weekly, but you miss so much of your earnings on the backside because you check out too fast. You check out way too fast. So have the expectations that the business is hard work, and then give yourself a legit shot at this. Not 1 month, oh, I didn't make any money. You did make a little bit of money, but you're better than you were before, which is what really matters.
Your life doesn't change in a month either. Your life changes in a year,
No, so. People are crazy. It breaks my heart, but people realize that it took them a year or 2 years to get into the hole that they're in. And then they think that they can get out of the hole that they're currently in 1 month. And it took you 2 years to get there.
100%.
Give your business a chance to get you out of there, right?
Agreed.
And then the last thing would probably just be the expectations for yourself, and then give yourself time. And then the other thing would just be, honestly, your mental game, realizing that it's not you. It's not you. It's the people you're talking to on the other end of the phone. They're not mad at you. They're not upset with you. So don't make this business personal.
It's just an emotional reaction.
Yeah. So those would be my 3 tips. I know they were probably looking for some cool closing tip, but that comes later.
You're cool. No, I mean, we wanted to talk about, we can do another session with that too, right? We can do another meeting, and we can hear some of Jason's closes, but I wanted this to be for new insurance agents. How do you go through, and like, what are some expectations? How was he successful? And just provide some tips there. So like we said before, if you want to work with us, just check the link in the description of the video. It'll also be in the comments, www.theslsway.com/jvonmigan. Thank you so much, Jason. And you guys want to watch this next video coming up here. Thank you, guys.